Hello, Dave. Is this your first time here, Dave? Okay. Let's see what we got going on. Hello, Dave. Yeah, heel toe on the hi-hat. Something's not right with the counter here. Anyway, how you doing, Dave? I'm just waiting for the chat to get populated. Oh, okay. Did you just get the book, Dave? What's your last name, Dave? You know, with all these different IDs and whatever. Anyway, it's going to be a very difficult lesson today, and I don't want to start the lesson right at the moment until a few other people come into the chat. Today's lesson, and we're not going to accomplish too much today because it's very difficult. What we're going to do, oh, how you doing? Okay, now I remember. With these numbers and whatever, it's hard for me to decipher all of that. Okay? I apologize. Anyway, today's title of the lesson is Polyfunk. It's something I decided that, maybe I should just call it that. But there's a whole thing of this thing going on, and it's very difficult. There's 2 time signatures, actually, or maybe even, two time signatures, or maybe even 4 time signatures going on in the same phrase. Now, I taught everybody how to play 3 against 4 a certain way. There's a few different ways to do this. For example, if I take 3, 1, 2, 3 with my left hand, that means I'm going to be playing left hand, my left hand, I'm going to play 8th note triplets, and with my right hand, I'm going to play 16th notes. Were you here for that lesson, Dave? So what I think I'm going to have to do, because it's so difficult, I got very excited in writing the first 22 from Gary Shafee's pattern series. Time functions, like 3 against 4, okay? There's a 3 measure increment for the first one. Now, do we have any problems just reading the thing? Because if we do, and I'm sure that some of you are going to, I'm going to write out on one surface the whole sequence. So you should be getting that within the next day or so. But we're going to spend a little time on that right now. Okay? 3 against 4. Now, there's 2 different ways I do 3 against 4. Like I said before, I'll do the 3 with my left hand and 4 with my right hand. Do you remember that, Dave? All right, well, we're going to work on that a little bit in depth, all right? Anyway, the other way, 3 against 4, so I'm playing 4 quarter notes and a half note triplet. I have 1, we're not going to go there today. We're just going to think of this one. Now, when I do that, I'm thinking in 3. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. I'm going. It's not easy, okay? Now, I'm going to write out the whole lesson again, but this time on one surface. I'm going to show you how I proofread, make sure that you're doing it correctly. Now, what we're doing is we're in 4 for the lesson, okay? There's not many people inside of the chat. I really wanted them to come in. Maybe they're out shoveling snow or the traffic got to them. But anyway, I'm thinking in 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, on top of that 4, I'm going to play 3 against that 4. Okay, so you have 1. Now I'm thinking in 3/4 or 3/8 or whatever. 1E and 2 and 3E and. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to play that in 4, and I'm going to keep going with the right hand as the 3 against 4. No bass drum, no snare drum yet. 1E and 2 and 3E and 4 and 2E and 3, the 4 and 1E and 2. Now do you see that? I'm playing the 3. The 3 is actually with the hi-hat, and the 4 is with the ride cymbal. What I'm doing, I'm not thinking in 3, 1E and 2 and 3E and. I'm thinking in 4. So I have 1E. I'm going to just play the hi-hat and the ride cymbal. 1E and I'm do slow. 2E and 3E and 4. Now watch. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. Do you understand that? Need some help here, Dave. Hello, Ed. You got the PDFs. It's very difficult, no? Now, I'm going to ask, because I ask everyone, and I can't assume. Do you have any problems reading the PDFs? Because I am going to put out a one surface thing here. I just explained the 3 against 4, and we're thinking in 3, but we're playing in 4. Do we understand that? Everybody gone away. Everybody's in the snow. Jesus. And I'm going to do the first one. Well, let me tell you something. When I wrote this out, it was actually more difficult to write it out than it is to play it. Only because it's a 3-measure increment, because after the 3rd measure it comes back to the 1. Okay? What happens with that is I got very dizzy, honestly got dizzy. And I had to take some Dramamine, or if you have, vertigo. I thought I had vertigo for a little bit there. It is not easy to write this stuff out. It took a long time to write out 66, is that 3 times? Yeah, 3 times 22, 66 measures. It took a long, long time. What I want to do is do it slow. I want to share with you how I would, if I were you, how I would enter this. First, we're going to establish, like I said, the 3. Well, it's not so much do you apply it. See, all right, let me talk about that. The question here is, where do you apply something like this? Honestly, wherever you want, wherever it fits, wherever it says musically, and you're having your conversation with the band. You know, there's no set thing where you put something. Where do you place a paradiddle? Where do you do a roll? You know, I get these newsletters from these online instructors because I'm curious to see what they're all about. I get something, 5 drum fills every drummer should know. What does that mean? What, you know, I don't know what that means, 5 fills. Yeah, well, what this does, number one, what I'm doing here for everybody, is if you get this down 1 through 22, all the other cymbal ostinato patterns, okay, are definitely going to become piece of cake for you. Nobody can tell you where you're going to put this. Wherever you think musically it's going to fit, it's going to happen inside of the groove, that's what you do. Ed, what's the purpose of learning something like this? Make a comment. It's a challenge. It's a challenge in focus. And it does get funky. Because you have the whole stick and drill book coming at you like this. But I want to get to the lesson. There's not that many people in the chat, so I don't really want to repeat myself. So I'm going to do this. I said I'm playing in 4, but I'm thinking in 3. 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and. Now it starts again on the 4. 4 E and the 1 and 2 E and 3 E and the 4 and 1. Do you see the 3? I know it's snowing. You got tied up in traffic, right, Jim? No problem. This is a very difficult lesson. Let me ask you, Jim, and Dave, and Ed, do you have any problems reading this? I need to know that. Do we have any problems understanding how to read it? Well, that's a good statement. It allows you to expand rhythmic vocabulary on the drums. That's good, but the main object here is, man, first off, it makes you dizzy because you're thinking in 2 different time signatures, and you can't hear that yet. What's this? Okay. We have, who's that? Rima? Okay, let me address this. Take a few seconds out. All right, Rima is a friend of mine on Facebook, and I think he lives someplace in Europe. I'm not certain exactly where. And, you know, I made statements. I try to practice 4 or 5 hours every day. And lately, that has been cut down only because I'm extremely busy with writing and teaching and broadcasting, basketball games and mixed martial arts and all that good stuff. But the question is, what motivates you? How do you sit down for that length of time to practice? Well, we're all different. We're all on the same journey, actually, to become better. So the more time you spend with your drumming, the better you're going to become. Sometimes there's things that are boring, like a routine, which I don't really like, because that comes with the term routinization. Routinization is a part of being bored. You know, you want to keep your hands together. You want to develop coordination. You want to discover new things. You want to solo. You want to listen to tunes, learn tunes. That's all in the realm of your practicing. Okay? I sit down it's not a routine. It's for uh, issues, physical issues. I loosen up. Now, it's 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 like anything else. You do mixed martial arts, you play sports or whatever. You have to stretch your muscles so you don't get hurt. And the same thing applies to drumming. It's not a sport, but you're using limbs. And limbs, when you first sit down, are not loose. You got to make it flow. So what do? Is I use the stick control book. I'll spend at least a half hour, full strokes, half strokes, and quarter strokes. Now, I don't know what I'm going to practice for that day, depending on what I feel I should practice to become better and discover. Okay? But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a routine, but it's a formality that you should do to loosen up, stretch the muscles. And, you know, another question was, what motivates you? Well, you know, why do you practice so much? Well, it's like anything else. You have a bank account, okay? And you want to have a lot of money in your bank account. You don't make any deposits, you're not going to have a big balance. So if you don't practice, you're not growing. You're not learning. What is this? Yep, it is. It is funny, but it's true. You know, I do the exercise like this to loosen up. I'm not trying to perform. I'm saying, okay, wake up, right? Wake up, left. And then I'll run down the stick control book. A couple minutes in full strokes, then half strokes, then quarter strokes. Or whatever I want to practice, I will practice. I want to become better at it. You know, I keep getting statements, the 5 greatest drummers of all time. What is that? That's the most idiotic statement in the world. There's nobody better. We're all created equal. We all are on the same journey. We play our instrument because we love it. We play with bands because we want to make a statement. We want to groove. It's a very special place to be. Okay? And there's no such thing as the greatest drummer of all time. That's like saying Buddy Rich, Max Roach, Elvin Jones, Mike Portnoy, whoever. What does that have to do? There's no such thing. They're all in a different place. They all accomplish what they want to accomplish through practice, 5-6 hours a day. You know, I've been fortunate enough all my life that I've had drumsticks in my hands most of the day. My day would start off early, like 9, 10, 11, me practicing because I'm at my studio where I was teaching, and I'd have my student come in. And that's part of practicing because now I'm doing full strokes again, explaining what quarter notes are, so on and so forth. You know, I'm part of it. And after I finished teaching, I would get something to eat and go play a gig 6-7 nights a week. So in the course of 24 hours, I might have had the drumsticks in my hands maybe, out of those 24 hours, maybe 12 hours. So on and so forth. So I was pretty fortunate. It's not, how can I sit down and practice for 5 hours a day and not become bored? Well, if you're practicing the same thing over and over again, that's not a bad thing because you're going to make it better and better. But you need to get a teacher. You need to sit down with somebody who's going to guide you and lead you to new directions. And those new directions are new things for you to practice. By you practicing the new things, you will definitely becoming better and start discovering different things about yourself. So you can't be bored. Okay, Rima, do you understand? Am I helping you out somewhat? Well, you can't play it yet, neither can I. unless I get into a state of mind. What you need to do, and now we'll go to the lesson. There's quite a few people here. We're taking 3 against 4. Like I showed, I'm doing this in a subdivision way, as an 8th note triplet and 16th notes with my right hand. 3 notes with my left hand, 4 notes with my right hand. Bass drum is going to be on the 1, the downbeat. Now that's what I'm playing with this so-called polyfunk. But right now, when I just demonstrated that, I was demonstrating that in a 3 field. I was going 1. Remember I said the triplet count instead of 1 and the. I'm counting the triplet as 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Rima, because you commented, let me explain. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to my site and register as a member, $19.95 a month, reoccurring. Okay, Rima? And I give you new things that all you will be doing is practicing, and you wouldn't know what to practice first. Believe me, it won't be boring. It'd be challenging. So we changed that word from boring to challenging. All right, back to the 3 against 4. I'm thinking in 3, the triplets. 1, 2, 3. Now, inside of the 3, I'm subdividing the 4. 1E, that's 12 beats. Counts, rather. 1, 2, and 3. Now, that's the 3 against 4 field that we're using inside of this 4-4 concept. Notice I wouldn't say that, pass the goddamn butter. I guess you could, but that's not a good way to approach it. It's mathematical. Okay. Anyway, I'm playing 3 against 4. I'm thinking in 3, but I'm playing in 4. Now what's going to give me the 4 is my hi-hat. We're going to forget the bass drum, and we're going to forget the 2 and 4 for a minute. So the first process would be that hi-hat. 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the. Now that's only one measure. Now inside of that measure, I only could do 3 against 4 once. And on the 4th beat of that measure, it's going to start again to 3 against 4. That's what's insane about it, because I'm playing in 4, thinking in 3. I'm going to play it real slow, and it's a form of meditation. And what you need to do is clean that mind, because there's a lot of things that come into your mind that's going to distract you, and you say, where the hell am I? Like I said, this stuff here will make you dizzy. No problem. So now I'm just going to play the left foot and the right hand part in a 3 measure increment, all right? And when I get to the 3rd measure, I'm just going to smack the 1. So I'm just going to play the hi-hat and the ride cymbal. I might play the bell. That might give it a better sound. Okay, here we go. 1 E, nice and slow. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the play E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E. Now here goes 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and I stopped. I just did a 3 measure. You understand that? You can't play it on a hi-hat using the hi-hat on all 4. Want me to do it slower, guys? 1. It's 1. I'm coming down to hi-hat and hitting the hi-hat at the same time. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. Now, get the sheet out. And you look at the sheet, and you see me playing the top line, the top space, the cymbal part, and the hi-hat part. Now, you're going to have problems with this because you're playing one time signature and you're thinking of another time signature. And this is just the beginning of difficult, because now you're going to throw the bass drum in where he wants it, and on the count of 2 and 4, you're going to get a backbeat. So we'll dissect it real slow. Okay? So we're just going to hang out with the first one. The first one, let's dissect. Where's the bass drum? On 1 and 3. So I'm going to play the hi-hat and the bass drum. Okay? Where it belongs. So the bass drum's on 1 and 3. So I'm thinking 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. That's what's happening with the hi-hat and the bass drum with this particular pattern. Now, let's add the snare drum. Okay? And the snare drum is going to be on 2 and 4, backbeat. I'm not going to smack it like heavy. I'm just going to hit the snare drum. Okay? 1, E, and the 2, E, and 4 again, E, and the E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. Now, sorry, that's from Gary Shafee's book, Time Functions, page 11, number 1 bass drum pattern. And he had before that, he has different cymbal patterns, ostinato patterns. So what we're doing now is we're changing the right hand. We're making it difficult, challenging, and it's going to make you dizzy. So I just dissected the bass drum, the snare drum, and the hi-hat. Now I'm going to enter this extremely slow. So you're going to hear some mistakes here and there, because when my mind gets distracted and I'm thinking about the stream or the questions or so on and so forth, it's difficult for me to play this. So I'm going to have to clean my mind somehow. So if I make a mistake, bear with me. Okay, here we go. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I just forgot what I did. I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't shoot me. Let me try it again. 1, E, and. It's actually better for me to play it up tempo, but I'm trying to break it down and show you the pain and suffering mentally I went through to play this. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the 1. Yeah, that was slow. Woof. And I'll tell you, to practice this becomes very tiring. Well, Jim, what I said in the beginning of the lesson, I'm going to write out the first one. I'm going to write them out all, but for example, I'm going to write out the first one as one surface, the notation. On the second line, another 3 measures, is to make sure, okay, that you have the notes in the correct place, like how I teach it. Remember, when you're going to play the hi-hat constantly with this when you're doing like line 1. When I write it out on one surface, your hi-hat's going to be on 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So it's going to make it easier and better. Only do one at a time. Let that thing flow. I would sit there for 20 minutes, and it's a good exercise, or 20 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you can stand. And what's a good exercise is on focus. Now, I'm not thinking in 3, but I'm actually playing in 3, but I'm thinking in 4. 1 E and 2 E and E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E, the 3 E and 4 E and. Do you get it? Now I'm going to try to be as helpful as I possibly can. Now I have a ton of different exercises that I'm going to send, and if they help you, fine, which they should. Well, these are not easy. You know, it's like, first of all, I have a difficult time, and I'm not going to use excuses. I should just just stop looking at the screen, concentrate on what I'm going to do and play it, and then explain it. That's what I should do, but it's not easy, man. It's not, because, you know, as a teacher, you're always thinking about what's coming next, a question that was answered 2 minutes ago while I'm playing. And I'm not giving you a good example of where your mind should be. When you're playing this, you have no choice but to maintain that focus. So it's actually a great exercise to strengthen that focus. And plus, it's going to make you're not going to hear any funk yet. Not until you make it flow a little bit, okay? But it's going to make you think. You're thinking in 4, but you're playing in 3. Inga-da-bunga. I could have put this in 4 measures of 3, but I want it to flow over and over again. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the combinations like that, because it's going to be difficult to do that. So like I said, I'm going to prepare something within the next couple of days to send you at least the first 5 or 6, rather, okay, of the reading and the counting, and then we'll go over it again. Now, there are, what do we have here? Come on, how did I get that? I gotta get that off. We have a couple students in here that were students a while back on the stream on my site, okay, and I have since then wrote a workbook. Now, everybody in here that's in the chat has the workbook, except for Rima. So Rima, if you're going to do what I asked, go to the website. Oh. That's the website. Go there and sign up. Because I'm not, in a month or so, this is not going to exist on a constant basis. It will exist once in a while. But my lessons will be broadcast from my site. Like I said, it's under construction right now. Now, guys, don't be frustrated you can't play it. It's not easy. And by the way, I have to give some credit here to a friend of mine who is on Facebook, and he's from Canada. Daniel Bernard, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Good drummer. He's a left-handed drummer, and he posted a phrase and kept playing it over and over and over again with the 3 against 4 concept. And I commented, and I told him he inspired me to continue to open up this door, and I did. No? Okay. The question is, what do you mean you're playing in 4, but you're thinking in 3? Well, simple math comes here. The way I'm thinking of 3 against 4, okay? If you take do you have the PDF on this? Do you have the PDF, Rima? If not, I might have to send it to you. It's 1 through 22. Okay. If you're looking like, now that's a good question, because now the guys that do have the PDF, if you look at the first 3 downbeats, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a stop. Okay? On the count, I'm going to hit it on the hi-hat. I'm going to do up to 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. That was 3. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to do 3 with this, and I'm going to play the 4 here. Okay? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. So I'm thinking in 3. Now I continue. However, where the 1 of the 3 is on the 4. So I have 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. Then I'm going to hit 4, but 4 begins the 3. 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. Does that make any sense to you? And I'm going to count it real slow. If you don't have the PDF, I'm going to send you the PDF after the lesson, okay, Rima? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. Now back to the beginning of the phrase. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a E and a 4 E and a. Gentlemen, while I'm playing that, get the PDF out and just listen, watch the first phrase, the first 3 measures with the right hand. I'm going to play the bass drum to give you the tempo. Well, yeah, I like to play it here so you could hear it. Okay? Tell me when you got them, and I'm going to play it real slow. First measure. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Now I just played the first measure. Now I'm going to start the second thought process in 3, but it's on the count of 4 and 4, 4. So I have 4 E and 1 E, E and that was the second process of 3. The third process is going to count, I think it was 3, right? 3 E and 4 E and then 1 E and then starts again. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3. 1 E and the 2 and 3 E and the 4 E and the 1. Do we understand that? Ed, is that how you're approaching it? Mr. Ed, help me out, please. Or share with the guys in here how you're approaching this. Oh, man, it's getting hot and dry in here. No comments, okay. Ed, you still here? There's 12 people watching. People are late, 11. Well, no, because then the backbeat. See, I'm playing without the right hand. I'm actually playing. I'm going to play no bass drum or right hand. It'll be 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4. 1E and the 2, 3E and the 4. Now, if I play it in 3, that means that the left hand would have to fall on 2, and then 1, then 3, and it's going to become more confusing. I can write it out like that, 4 measures of 3, which would give you 3 measures of 4. If you think that will work for you, I mean, I could send that to you. I could write that out for you, but man, it takes a long time to write this stuff out. So I'm thinking of 1E. The first thing you want to do is let's play the hi-hat 1, 2, 3, 4, and play the bell of the cymbal, the top line. You have the sheets in front of you. Here you go. 1E and the 2E, the 3E and the 4E, and 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the E and the 2E and the 3E, the 4 and. Anyway, learn how to count it like that first. Okay? Who's this? Well, I don't know. I mean, I used to have every 6 months. I mean, if you have a debit card or you have a credit card, you know, just pay for one month. That means I have to call my computer guy, and it's going to cost me money to rearrange the payment methods. 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year. That's why, Jim. I'd have to call my computer guy. He'll charge me $200 to change the whole thing. So what am I? I'm not earning anything. You know, just I think the one time a month, if you go through PayPal, it's safe. Nobody's going to bother you on PayPal. You're hitting my site. You hit my site. That money that you did or how you signed up goes directly to PayPal into my account. I mean, I'm not using any credit, card memberships like MasterCard and Visa and American Express and Discover. Those guys are criminals. That's where you have a problem. If you're using a bank card, a debit card rather, it takes you right to, I said, PayPal. Is that a problem, Jim? Okay. Anyway, man, it's 1:45. I'm sorry that, we only got this far, and it's actually my fault because, I should have taken the time to write out the one surface and be able to read it. If you can read it, it makes it a lot easier. I can't write. I could have written out on the sheets You're playing in 4, but you're thinking in 3. Make sure the backbeat is on 2 and 4, and the bass drum where written, so on and so forth. And I figure you guys are over that. Anyway, we're going to hang out with this stuff a little bit here and there. You're not going to be able to do 1 to 22 in 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 lessons. So we'll hit number 1. We'll hit number 1 through 5 or 6 rather, and we'll work with that. Once you get that, then we'll continue. Okay? Plus, I have some additional stuff from Stick Control book. Knock you guys out with this stuff. All right. Anyway, Dave Stanek contacted me last night, and I really enjoy Dave Stanek. Dave Stanek is a brilliant person, as like Alan Herman. Those 2 guys are like twins when it comes to knowledge. They know a lot about drumming. They know about a lot of the laws of physics. They're very articulate. They're just beautiful guys to know. And I did promise him way back that I will start doing a few lessons from his book. Now, I'm not sure if this is a friendship thing, because in the Art of Drumming groups and all the groups, there's over 100,000, 200,000 people. Okay? And if I put a lesson of his on YouTube here, it is promoting his book, which it's a good thing, because that book should be in everybody's library. We are going to hit on that one day this week, and we're going to work with the table of time. And he does the table of time similar to the way Joe Morello's Master Studies projected it, but he uses a triangle. And he's not only accenting every first beat of the downbeat, he's also putting dynamics in. And you have a sheet on that. You have the sheets on forte means fortissimo, P means piano, soft, so on and so forth. So we're going to journey through that table of time with the variety of dynamics. So just to let you know, that's coming. And you have the sheet, so study it. With the repeat? Okay. Oh boy, you guys are killing me. I can. Oh. I'm going to play it slow. 1 E, and you want me to just play the right hand and the left foot? 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and I'm sorry, I got lost there. That's on 3 E, that's 2 E and 2 E and 3 E and again 4 E again 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and so on and so forth. Is that okay? You want me to do it slower, Jim? Again. Is that okay? You want me to do it slower? You want me to play the phrase 3 measures and repeat it? Is that what you want me to do? Okay, I'm going to do it slow, and I'll do that. I'll play the first line, I'll repeat it, and then I'll stop on the third time on the 1 so I can present it to you. Okay, here we go. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E, and the 4 E, and the 1 E, and the 2 E, and the 3 E, and the 4 E, and the 1 E, and the 2 E, and the 3 E, and the and again E, and the 2 E, and the 3 E, and the 4 E, and the 1 E, and the 2 E, and the 3 E, and the 4 E, and the 1 E, and the 2 E, and the 3 E, and the 4 E, and is that what you wanted there? Oh, mercy. Hello? Ugh. Yes, no? Okay, it's almost 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock. I hope we're going to do a little bit more tonight at 7 p.m. Okay? And I'm not going to be able to write anything out until sometime tomorrow. You'll get it before lesson, I hope, tomorrow. Any questions? This is a difficult lesson, so take your time, dissect it a little at a time. This was more of an introduction as opposed to a performance of it. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to sign out. Who is this? Yorkshire. Drum Camp. Hello, Mr. Yorkshire. What's your first name? You come just in time for me to sign off. Lessons are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Except if we have a special guest, I have to arrange it so it's convenient to everyone. Do we understand what I did? Rima, did you understand it? Richard, come back tonight. First, though, tell me where you're from, Richard. I'll spend a few more minutes. Are you on my mailing list? Hey, boom, 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 boom. Every drummer should know these fills. What a joke. Rima, try to come back tonight. Okay? Here's my email. If you want to get on my mailing list, okay, Mr. Yorkshire, email me, and I'll send you the PDF on this guy. I am back tonight at 7 p.m., so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be 12 midnight your time, correct? Okay, did you get the PDFs on this guy? With all that being said, I need to take a break. It's kind of hot in here right now. So I'm going to sign off. Okay. 7, my time, 7 will be midnight your time. If you can come back tonight, that would be great. I can't be rearranging. I tried to find a happy medium for the times. So people from California, from Canada, from South America, from Europe can view the lesson. I might change it once in a while so you guys can get on it. Okay. There's no questions. I'm going to sign off, guys. Have a good rest of the day. I'll be back tonight, 7 p.m.